Tony Moorman. He is the director and editor of the film. Eric Wolfman, who you recognize. Andrew Bawidamann, who you will recognize as well. Ewing. Tony and Woody, after a year and a half of making this movie, how's it feel to finally have it done? Bring it to the world in this premiere.
First of all, I just want to thank everybody that came out. And I want to thank those of you that were nice enough to give us your time. There were so many amazing people, so I just feel a great sense of gratitude. So thank you.
Well, of course, it feels great to be done and be finished because we filmed for over a year and a half. It was mind-numbing. We had over 100 interviews. We had over 8 terabytes of footage, like 150 hours. So trying to trim all that stuff down and make a film out of it was very challenging. So it feels great to be done.
Cool. To you guys, Andy and Eric and Brian, when they first approached you all about making this movie, like, what were your thoughts? What were your fears? And how do you feel about it now? I want to start with Andy.
That I would say fuck too much, come off as inarticulate, or I don't know, but on one hand it's like, hey, bucket list, we made a movie, sweet. That was about it.
Okay. What about you, Eric?
I was really kind of skeptical, and yeah, no one ever asked me to be in a movie, so I just didn't know how to feel, and I was just kind of waiting to get more information, I guess.
I thought it would just be boring. Like I see everybody else, their life look exciting, but I don't think mine is. And so actually Andrew had to really immerse me into doing it. And part of it was just doing the first shooting and convention in Cincinnati. I really didn't want to go. It's just like, just do it, just go. You get at that. And once we went there, it was much easier. But I never saw myself as subject matter. So I always saw other people and thought they were interesting, but I never thought they would find what I do interesting. So it's very strange still. Like watching it, I kind of ignored all the parts that I'm in, and I was just paying attention to what these guys were saying and what all the other professionals were saying, because I was sitting there wondering what I could learn from it. Because like I took myself out of it, and Eric and I were talking about this on the drive down. It's like it doesn't seem real, and I think those are the parts that I'm in. But then when I watch everybody else in the center, what nuggets of information can I get out of this? Like that's, I'd be happy if I wasn't in it, just because I got to watch it other times.
I'm curious because making art is a very solitary thing. Eric spoke to that, and I'm sure everybody who makes art, recognizes you spend many hours by yourself, and you don't get a chance to interact. So, did you guys immediately get comfortable with the cameras in the interviews? Was there a ramp-up process? Be like, oh, okay, I'm going to talk to the cameras again, or how did you all adapt to that?
I kind of just told everybody, like, let's just try to make something that's really honest and that we want to see, and the rest would just kind of take care of itself. Like I didn't think anything could be bad if we were just honest, and literally just open up the curtain and be like, this is what it's like, and then kind of try to think like, hey, if I was 20, what did I want to hear from somebody? What was the secret? What was the fortune cookie thing? And I figured let's just be honest and just talk about that, good or bad, and just let the cards fall where they may. Let's just make something honest, and hopefully that'll be good. The rest of the shit will just take care of itself. It'll just going to be what it's going to be, and we'll just do this.
Was there any trepidation from you two guys as far as talking about kind of some of the insecurities, your backgrounds, and things like that? Things that normally wouldn't come up like in an interview, or someone contacted you about weapons or pinups, or you about gig posters, or just what you do. Was there any hesitation in kind of pulling the curtain back and revealing that aspect of yourselves?
They did ask us these questions. It's just they decided to not make it solely about us and include all these other artists that they have interviewed. So thankfully they didn't include some of the answers that we had, because some of them were kind of depressing. Or just like how you viewed what you're doing, and have you made it, stuff like that. Like Tony did a great job of editing in a way that we weren't ashamed of, like, some of the stuff that we said. Because, yeah, some of the outtakes, like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that, or he said that, or whatever. So, you know, that was my biggest fear, is just like, how stupid am I going to look? You know, how stupid am I going to make myself look? But Tony did a great job of masking over that and kind of making us sound a little more intelligent than we are.
Well, to that point, Tony, let me ask you something. Tony, when you were editing, how many different versions of this movie did you end up putting together before you finally got to something that was close to this?
Like 5.5, 6 versions, maybe, like 6 different cuts. So the first cut was terrible. I think we spent like 20 minutes just on the education. When you guys saw, there was probably 6 minutes. So, and these guys saw that version, and they were very disappointed and what was happening. So we went back and we had to reboot everything and rethink. So it was definitely a process. And, you know, Woody kept comparing what I was doing to painting, which was weird. He's like, hey, you know, you just got to work it out. All right, dude. I'm just cutting, man. I'm trying to make everybody happy. So it was fun. I loved it. I mean, the hardest part was losing when we lost probably 30 artists that we couldn't keep in the film. And it wasn't because we had bad interviews; they were all good. But trying to make a sense of a story in 85, 90 minutes was always our goal. So finding that happy spot was really, really tough. But you know, we got there, and he's really hard on me, and I'm hard on him, and we're tough on ourselves. So I think that was a good thing. But we're super harsh.
Questions from the audience?
Doing this, did you guys feel that when you were asked that question, did it help with some of your own insecurities, or feeling more confident, helping with the understanding of it? Do you feel more secure, or is it easier now to talk about it, since you know you went through a laborious interview process where you like really spilled your soul to a bunch of people?
For me personally, I kind of feel the same way I did when the interviews first started. I was already in this kind of like weird transition in my career, and it's just working itself out. I don't know when that's going to lead me in the next few years or whatever, but when you talk about it out loud, it kind of does help to hear other people sympathize with, you know, the views, but I don't know. I still don't always love the word. Out of hatred.
I think it was easy because everybody else spilled the beans too. You know, I think as we get older, it's a lot easier to be honest with ourselves about who we are and where we are. And I'll be honest, I was a little nervous answering some of the questions, but I figured I'll just be honest. Just let the cards fall where they may. But when I saw some of the other interviews, I saw everyone else was doing that too. So it really, because everybody else was being really honest, it just really made it easy to do that also all the way through the documentary.
The process led, like, of making a film led to a lot of additional reflection on the subject of making it and trying to make it. Did any of that reflection and did the process lead to any additional information that you weren't able to get into the film because you had already filmed all the content?
For me, anyway, one of the biggest things was just getting more of Eric. We didn't have a whole lot of It's true. He had it coming on. But he had a lot going on personally and just location-wise. And, you know, we didn't have money and we were doing this ourselves. So, you know, Brian gave us a lot of access to a lot of things, and so did Andy, and so did Eric. But, you know, I wish we could have got more gallery stuff.
I always saw this film a little differently than Tony, because I don't come from a background of filmmaking. I come from it as like a teacher and an artist. So yeah, I want to share everything. Like, you guys don't know, like Donato gave me an amazing 45-minute interview. Jeff gave me about the same, about 25. There are tons about Bill Carl was in here. There were so many amazing artist interviews that you guys just don't get to see. And the thought of me hoarding that as like this evil illustrator overlord, like, haha, you'll never know my secrets, is depressing to me. So one of the things that Tony and I have to strategize with when we release the film and bring it out to distribution is how can we have the supplementary material so that you guys can share it. So some people may not want that, they just want the film, but there's going to be a lot of other people, especially in this room, that would love to listen to Dave McKean talk for the full 40 minutes, not the 2-minute soundbite, you know? And it's so much more information, but again, You've got to make the movie coherent. And the great thing is Tony, as a director, was intelligent enough to know that. He was like, Woody, 90 minutes. I'm like, 150? Woody, 90 minutes. So that's what I
You guys touched on kind of a little bit of the educational aspect at the beginning. Do you have plans for outreach, getting these into, or reaching out to universities, colleges, speaking to the young artists that are out there, that are in school now, and maybe getting them to see this?
Yes, all of that. I think what we're going to try to do is tackle just digital self-distribution, and then maybe try to piecemeal in all extra content with that. But at the same time, we want to try to license out the film itself to colleges, universities, workshops, programs. But we also would love to screen it. You know, screening the film with the other artists, if they could come, would be kind of cool. It would be a really good experience. So really all the above. And we're kind of hoping maybe like video on demand will follow that kind of, tactic. But doing self-distribution is so accessible now. You can do Vimeo, you can do YouTube. So yeah, we're looking at all that stuff. So hopefully in the next 3 to 6 months we'll figure out a plan.
Have any of you guys' definitions of making it, did it change after you gave the interviews or started working on editing the film? Did your definitions of success and making it change? Because like I relate to what Becky Coonan said, there are days when I'm stressing, I've got to get my daughter in the 4th grade, and then the next day, man, I need 2 more tires on my car. And so, there's a spectrum and a continuum between, what success is today versus what it is tomorrow. But have you guys' definitions changed at all?
Mine hasn't. I think that for myself over the past several years, I've tried hard to shed a lot of just stuff I don't need, like materialist stuff that, the more I want, the more I have to work to get, and then the less I'm working on stuff I'm actually interested in. So I've just tried to simplify my life and try to be more content with that, but I've kind of thought that way for a while.
I never actually thought of that question until I was asked it for the movie. So I never thought of it ending. It was just kind of like, I was always doing things, but I always wanted to do something that would lead to another thing. I didn't want it to end after finishing one project. I wanted that project to turn into something else and just grow and multiply on itself. So I didn't, I guess the best answer was I got out of bed today, because I every day I don't wake up dreading what I have to do. Even if I have deadlines, I'm just really excited and stoked that knowing what the alternative is. Like I used to work in pornography, and now I get to draw for a living.
Hey.
Photoshopping porn.
So, and Andrew mentioned it too, I think, where it's just kind of like, well, you could go back to your day job. And we all had those, and it's those day jobs that made us want to kind of take a chance and go and see if it's going to work. I was just talking to Jeff Cole, and he's like, dude, I just quit my day job a month ago. And I was like, all right, are you still like, yeah, I'm really excited. It's time, I got to do it. And that's kind of, just how I feel about it. And yeah, I've never had to define it. So I'm kind of getting an idea by listening to what other people are saying. And again, like I guess I'm not seeing myself in the film. I'm just so interested in what I can learn from all the other guys and all the men and women in there that I feel are ahead and that kind of are living a type of life that I want to live, and they're just leading by example.
You said you did several cuts of the film. How much did that first cut differ from your original vision that you pitched before making it?
This is really, really bad.
It was boring. You wouldn't want to sat through it. I mean, there's too many talking heads. It was terrible.
I hated it.
But it's like being with Eric. Woody and I did these mind maps, which is, you're right, your one idea at the center, and then you keep bridging off, and all of a sudden you have this mess. And we figured out what we wanted to talk about. So we had literally, he says at the beginning of the movie, but we had 12 topics. So you have to find a rhyme and a reason to maybe fit 7 or 8 topics. So the first cuts were always terrible because we were so attached too. We loved what we were getting. We loved the access
that Spectrum gave us, that Comic-Con gave us, that all these artists gave up their 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and all of it's great. And at one point, I have to be the bad guy and be like, I'm not going to use this, I'm not going to use that, and I'm cutting that person out. And you need to have that, or it's just a montage of, and that's kind of cool too. I mean, a montage of great content, but for what this was, and like what he said, him and I both had different ideas on what films we wanted to make, but we found a happy middle ground. So it was educational, thoughtful, hopefully inspiring, but yet my whole thing was I wanted it to be entertaining. I didn't want it to be boring.
There was one point where we disagreed so heavily that we were both like, fine, and you make your movie and I'll make my movie. So we don't talk about that too much. Maybe I should have said that. But and I think it came from really, again, just two very different ideas. They were very different ideas. I think Tony's idea was he wanted to tell the bio of these guys. And I like that general idea. But I also want to talk about the journey of an artist. And so it was, how can we have a narrative but still work as a bio? And it wasn't until we finally just made two really bad movies that weren't working that we looked at them and said, all right, someone's got to lead this dance.
And this probably goes into the editing portion. It seems there was a distinct lack of diversity in the presentation there. And I was hoping maybe you could discuss a little bit about maybe your search for finding other women artists to portray, or the sense of responsibility you had to portray that. I know it's sort of a documentary about your friends, and that's a big portion of it. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about that, because I think it's going to be a question that a lot of people talk about.
I mean, I'm going to speak from my gut. You're not going to like this. We knew this was a problem from the beginning. We actually talked about it. We wanted more. We wanted more diversity. We wanted all that stuff. And we were very, very limited on where we could go and who we could talk to. And it is probably something I wish definitely we had more creative control to do, because it'd be not an issue. We can coordinate and manage a shoot and then see it across the country, fly there, or go to any other convention. And I'm not trying to sound lazy, because I know that it could seem like that. But I felt like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we took every opportunity that I felt we could. And we always wanted to, we were jazzed about certain artists, and that's where we went. It's what we were relating to with that. But, it's a fair question.
As the guy that primarily wrote the film, I didn't have Olivia in the film because she was a woman. I had her because we wanted to showcase someone that was at the top of pinup, because that's what we premiered. Our guys were chosen because they were in the middle of their field, and because they were my friends. It was a narrative journey and a process of that. When I chose the people in the film, it wasn't because they were purple or orange or black or white or male or female. It's because I felt that their art was amazing, and I looked at them in that. Simple as that. So that's the honest truth from my perspective.
People are upset about not enough diversity. Don't make a film. Like these guys, aside from Tony, none of us are professional filmmakers. But we wanted to do this, and so we decided to give it a shot. This shouldn't be the only documentary ever done in illustration. I hope not, because that would put a lot of pressure on us. But that's as good as it gets. But no, this should inspire people to just, hey, I didn't see this, but I want to see it. Let's go make it. This shouldn't deter people from doing it. It should actually make people want to do more and see more. You're not going to get it by complaining. You're going to get it by doing. And that's like that just kind of gets under my skin when people, they hide behind their computers and they complain. But look at what they're doing. They're not doing anything to change it. They're just adding to the bullshit of why it didn't work. It's like, cool, it didn't work. Go make something. Not like, oh, let's see you do better. But no, just add to. If anything, this was inspired by other documentaries. Now this should inspire other people to do documentaries.
We made something, and there are real issues out there. If those are issues that, whatever they are for you, go make it. By all means, I'll come watch it. I'll support it. I'll sit and watch your film and support you, and I cannot wait to do it. Because there are tons of issues out there. And so, yeah, just go make, you did have a conversation. Should we have a woman in this? Should we have another ethnicity in this? But that, again, I think Andy said it. It was about honesty. It was a journey about me with these three guys that I've gone through that journey. I would have been pandering had I just chosen someone for their gender or for their race. It wouldn't have been honest.
This is like our Comic-Con pack that's been traveling for like 10 years. It is, it's what it is. And we let you in with us. And it just, you know, there's more people, you know, this is just our little circle, but it's bigger than you think. And it's wider than you think. But it was just a proximity of, I mean, it was basically a bunch of guys calling in all the favors to try to drag these camera guys with us under budget, sleeping on floors, you know, to try to make this thing happen. And basically what it is you're just seeing the perspective of our world from our pack, you know, and hopefully we got a lot of other amazing artists and tried to be honest as possible to where you could kind of maybe get past that and really just enjoy those universal themes that really kind of surround about, like, you know, I guess I was just looking for happiness, and illustration was just the bus we were riding on while we were having the conversation. And if you feel like there's some issues that weren't addressed, let's have another bus ride, you know, make another movie, like pick up where we left off. Like there's no way we could have touched it all. Even if you watch all the other stuff, there's gotta be more stuff. If you feel like something's left out, like, make something else. I'd like to see that movie.
This isn't actually a question, this is a comment on what I saw. So, I know your work. I know your work very well, and this is the first time I found out about you. So, for me, it was like a superhero comic. Your superhero selves are invulnerable. Your work is powerful. Your work touches me very, very deeply and moves me very, very deeply on all three different levels. To me, it was like meeting the secret identities. And I didn't realize there's such vulnerable people behind such powerful art. That's happened all through the history, studying history of art for me. That the artist isn't always necessarily what you see from their work. There's very complex human beings behind. For me, that was the value of the film, was to peek behind the Oz mask and meet the real Oz, you know? So I want to congratulate you on letting us back there. That was really something. So what's your next film?
That's you.
So I would absolutely love to do a Ken Burns inspired biodoc with Chris Payne. That's what I would love to do.
Nice.
Just a straight up biodoc, just him. And after that, I would actually really love to do a volume 2 of this film with different artists, different perspectives, and tackling digital paint, tackling more focused comics and concept art. I think that's just those three big things are way, you know, it's just very, you know, I would just love to keep this thing kind of rolling if we can. It'd be awesome.
I hope you do.
Let's go sketch. Thank you, Woody. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Eric, Ryan.